Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining us. We have John Livesay, the Pitch Whisperer, on our show right now. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael. Good to be with you.
Glad you're here. All right, tell me about your TEDx talk, and they got over a million views.
Yes, that's right. The talk is called Be the Lifeguard of Your Own Life. And I find now that there's so many people who are hungry for ways to deal with disruption, whether it's happening to you like it did to me where I was laid off after working at Conde Nast for 15 years, or your industry's just being disrupted and you still have your job, but you're asked to do new things. And we either embrace it or ignore it. And I really go into the emotional mindset of how to handle disruption in a way that allows you to thrive and not drowned, as I say, because otherwise you're Blockbuster, but if you embrace it, you can become Netflix.
Exactly. How is Quantum RE combining real estate and blockchain?
Well, as the CMO of Quantum RE, the way we're combining real estate and blockchain is we're helping homeowners who've built up some equity in their home get the cash out without having to refinance or take out a second mortgage. And by eliminating that, we're offering to buy 10%, let's say, of their home in exchange for giving them that cash. And then we're a silent partner. We don't take the cash. There's no loan. There's no interest payments until they sell the house. And then we settle up on our percent. Now, that works fine, but the problem is it's not very liquid for the investors. By putting that on the blockchain, we're creating a token that's backed by owning hundreds of thousands of small percentages of people's homes, and now investors can buy and sell an asset-backed token without having to wait for people to sell their homes. So we're solving two problems, one for homeowners who don't want to take on more debt and want access to their money, and one for investors who want to buy a token that's backed by actual real estate.
Brilliant. What's the secret sauce for Quantum RE to let people invest in just certain areas or homes on the blockchain?
We're doing something, called an active portfolio. And the secret sauce that Quantum RE has is you can just buy the token that's backed by all the homes we own, but we've got a patented pending way of allowing people to zoom into certain neighborhoods or even one specific home that we own a fraction of and say, I only want to invest in Bel Air or Santa Monica or Malibu or my neighborhood because I know that neighborhood and that's where I think is going to do better than all the homes across the state. So that's the secret sauce that we're really excited about, and people are excited with that kind of technology that allows you to zoom in like that and just buy certain areas or even one home.
Absolutely. That's going to take off that's going to be great. All right, let me change gears a little bit. What makes a great pitch?
Well, a great pitch is something where people have answers to their unspoken questions. And the unspoken questions are a gut thing. Do I trust you? And then it moves from the gut to the heart. Do I like you? And then it moves to the head. Will this work for me? Am I going to get a good investment return? Is this somebody I want to work with? All that stuff. So a good pitch is concise, clear, and compelling while answering all those questions of being trustworthy, likable, and letting people know that it works.
Okay. What makes a good team in a startup?
Having complementary skills and mutual respect are what make a good team in a startup. Because if you both have two tech people as co-founders, that's not going to work. And if you're both marketing guys and nobody's got the tech, that's not going to work. So you need an overall visionary, a tech person, and a marketing person, and all of those skills come together while mutually respecting each other's expertise. That's what makes a good team. And investors have told me time and again on my podcast, The Successful Pitch, we invest in the team. That's the jockey. The idea is the horse, and we're always betting on the team.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds like that's you just described what we do here. Let me move on. What makes investors trust a startup?
The number one thing you can do to make yourself trustworthy to an investor if you're a startup is really play up and answer these two questions, Michael. Why you and why now? So when you're talking about your team, you have to really be clear on why we're uniquely qualified to execute this great idea. And then secondly, why is now the perfect time to make this happen? For example, Airbnb, if the economy hadn't been in trouble in 2008, people wouldn't have been willing for that renting a room or my house to a stranger. Or if most people in urban areas didn't have a smartphone, Uber and Lyft wouldn't have taken off. So the why now is so crucial. And in the case of Quantum RE, the why now is interest rates are rising. A lot of people don't want to take on more debt. So the why now is great for people wanting to get another way to get access to their cash without going into more debt.
Thanks for answering those questions. Let me change gears again, and let's go back to you. How did you become the pitch whisperer? How did that start?
Well, I give a lot of keynote talks to big brands like Anthem Insurance and Coca-Cola. And after a keynote, they were going to have an improv session where people were throwing out objections from the audience. And I said, why don't I stay on stage after my keynote and help with that improv session? And that way, if somebody gets stuck with an objection, I can whisper in their ear something they heard from the keynote to keep them going. And as I did that, they said, oh my God, you're the pitch whisperer. Can you be in our ear every time we're out in the field? And then Inc. magazine was kind enough to call me that on the cover of my book, The Successful Pitch.
Congratulations on that. All right, talk to me about the lessons you've learned interviewing investors.
I think the number one lesson that I've learned from interviewing over 150 investors, whether an angel investor or a VC, is that they want to understand what problem you're solving. They don't want to see a demo of your product. They care about who you are, what problem are you solving, how big is this market, and what's my return on investment? What's your exit strategy? And what's your barrier to entry to competition? You usually have 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 10 if you're in front of an angel group. And then the number one thing is, who's going to fund your next round? And most people are so concerned with just getting the first round funded. So you need a strategy in place and start building relationships with investors that you don't need until 12 to 18 months after you've hit some milestones.
I got it. The secret to a good story.
Well, storytelling is literally in our DNA. Plato said storytellers rule the world. So my personal mission is to help as many people as possible become great storytellers. Because when you tell a story, you pull people in as opposed to pushing your message out with selling. And the secret to a good story is that you take people on a journey. You make them have a little bit of suspense, a little bit of drama. You know, you're going on this ride of here's this person who was, in trouble and the solution came along, and now what their life is like after that problem is solved. The people see themselves in the story. They want to buy whatever it is you're selling.
I got it. The tips that you have to be more confident in your pitch.
Well, that also goes with him being part of the pitch whisperer. A horse whisperer calms a horse down, and I help calm people down when they get nervous. And it's like, it's expected. I'd say the goal is not to get rid of the butterflies in your stomach, but to get them to fly in formation. And so once you get the nervous energy out of your stomach and make a gesture, that helps. And get out of your head about worrying about whether people like you or are going to buy from you. Make it about them and not about you, and your confidence will go up.
I get it. All right, John, thanks for being a guest on the show. If there's anything I left out, let's talk about it now, or we can allude to it on our next interview.
I'm happy to give your guests a free book called Getting to Yes. All they have to do is text the word pitch to 66866, or they can go to my website, johnlivesay.com, and get it there.
Great. John, thanks for being our guest today.
Thanks, Michael.
My pleasure. You've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Don't forget, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube.